Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So for this afternoon, we will start discussing the classification formula. The lecture with regards to the fingerprint patterns and their interpretation was already uploaded in your Google Classroom last December 2022. Okay? I hope you were able to watch that lecture so that you will know the different fingerprint patterns. Baka kasi may hindi pa nanood or wala talagang planong manood, ay hindi nyo magigets ang fingerprint patterns and its interpretation. Because the fingerprint patterns are important in the classification formula, particularly in the primary classification and in your secondary classification. So if you haven't watched the recorded lecture with regards to the fingerprint patterns and its interpretation that was posted last December 2022, you have to watch that. Okay? So for this afternoon, our topic is the classification formula. So we are now entering the midterm topic of our subject, personal identification techniques. So without further ado, let us discuss your classification formula. Okay? Before we start, let us first define what do we mean when we say classification in this particular subject. Okay? The term classification simply refers, class, to the arrangement of your fingerprint records. Okay? Yan lang ang tatandaan natin. When we say classification, we are referring to the sequence or the arrangement of your fingerprint records into groups or subgroups for the purpose of filing. Okay? Kasi kung wala tayong classification, kung wala tayong arrangement of your fingerprint records, our fingerprint records will be confusing, magulo. Kaya gumawa si Sir Edward Richard Henry ng system. Okay? We call that one as the Henry classification system. Originally, the Henry classification system is composed of 4 classifications. Okay? We have the primary classification, secondary classification, subsecondary classification, and the final classification. Those were the original classification formulas found on the original Henry classification system. However, the Federal Bureau of Investigation modified the Henry classification system. They added 2 more classifications, and that is your major division and the key classification. So all in all, at present, we have 6 classifications. And those 6 classifications are the arrangement of your fingerprint records depending on the classification formula. Okay? When we say classification formula, we are referring to the answers to be provided in the classification system. Okay? The classification system that we are referring is the modified Henry classification system. The classification formula that we are pertaining to are the 6 classifications that are embedded in the Henry classification system. The primary, secondary, subsecondary, final, major, and key classification. Okay? Now, the answers on those classification are the classification formula. And the classification formula is a fraction. Because it is a fraction, it has a numerator and a denominator. Okay? I hope numerator and denominator is basic to you. Okay? You know already what is a numerator and a denominator. When we say numerator, it is a number or answer located on top of the fraction. Denominator is located below the fraction. So the classification formula is the answer to the different classification system, and it is reduced into a fraction. It is like a fraction, which consists of letters and numbers or figures or symbols. Okay? Now, the process of answering the classification is known as blocking out. Okay? If you are answering the classification, if you are providing an answer to the classification formula, we call that one as blocking out. That is the process of answering the classification formula. And our answers could be letters, symbols, or numbers, depending on the rules of the classification. And there are 6 classifications, as we stated a while ago. The following are the 6 classifications. Well, as I said a while ago, the original Henry classification consists of 4 classifications only: primary, secondary, subsecondary, and the final classification. But the FBI added two more classification, which is the major, division, and the other one is the key classification. Okay? So these are the classification formulas that we will answer in order for us to arrange your fingerprint records depending on the classification. And take note also that this enumeration provided here on this slide are the arrangement of answering the classification. Okay? So being so, the first classification formula that we will answer is the primary classification. The next is the secondary. After answering the secondary classification, we will answer the subsecondary classification. After answering the subsecondary, we will answer the major division. Afterwards, final classification. And the last classification that we will answer, the last classification that we will block out is the key classification. Okay? Tatandaan nyo yan. Kasi, pag makikita ninyo yung classification formula, ganito ang itsura niya. Okay? This is an image of the classification formula. And that is the arrangement of the classification system at the classification formula. Okay? Mauuna ang key, tapos susunod ang major, primary, secondary, subsecondary, at final. However, again, I am repeating, the first classification to be answered is the primary classification. The second is the secondary classification. The third classification that we will answer is the subsecondary, followed by the major division. Next is the final, and the last one is the key classification. Okay? So wag kayong malilito. Yan ang arrangement ng classification system sa ating classification formula. Mauuna ang key, last ang final. Pero kung paano natin sasagutan yan, mauuna ang primary. Okay? Sir, ano yung letter N at letter D doon sa gilid? Okay? It refers to the numerator and denominator. Because the classification formula is like a fraction. A fraction has a numerator and it has a denominator. Okay? So I hope that is clear to you. Okay, moving forward. So as we said a while ago, the first classification system that we are going to block out is the primary classification. Before I forgot, balik tayo dun sa formula. Take note, class, that the classification formula, the classification system is very difficult to understand. Okay? Maraming bumabagsak dahil dito. Hindi nila magets kung paano ito gawin. Kaya kung absent ka ng absent or naka-join ka nga pero hindi ka nakikinig sa klase, pasensyaan na lang tayo. Siguradong hindi mo makukuha ang sagot, ang tamang sagot sa classification system. Okay? Kaya makinig kayong mabuti. Why? Because this 6 classification system have their own rules. Iba ang rules sa primary, secondary, subsecondary until the key classification. May kanya-kanya silang rules. So if you are not listening well, if you are not following well, okay, if you are not comprehensively learning well, you will not be able to follow the concept on how we are going to get the classification formula. Okay? So I suggest that you should listen, especially to the primary classification, kasi mahirap ito kung hindi mo naintindihan. Pero kung pag naintindihan mo at nasundan mo yung rules, basic na lang ang primary sa'yo. Okay? So let's discuss the primary classification. So the primary classification, accordingly, as stated herein, is the first classification to be answered. And it is located in between the major division and the secondary classification. Now, how are we going to get our answers to the primary classification? Okay. Take note, class, that in the primary classification, there are numerical values that are assigned in all of your 10 fingers. May numerical value ang mga daliri ninyo sa primary classification. Later on, malalaman natin ano yung tinutukoy kong numerical value. So lahat ng daliri mo, may corresponding yan na numerical value. However, your finger will only have a numerical value whenever a whirl pattern appear in your fingers. Okay? So, ang daliri natin sa primary classification, may value yan kung ang pattern ng daliri mo ay whirl pattern. If you watch already the lecture with regards to the fingerprint classification, there are 4 types of whirl. Okay? Totoo ba, Miss Bangis, na mayroong 4 na klase ng whirl? Yes or no? Oh, wala. Wala tayong kausap. Mr. Ribo, totoo ba na there are 4 types of whirl? Oh. What are those whirl variants? Kindly identify them. Kung ayaw nyong magklase ngayon, tapusin na natin. Okay? Kaysa sinasayang ko yung oras ko sa inyo. Parang ayaw nyo atang magklase ngayon eh. You just tell me. I have many things to do. Just tell me if you don't want to have class today. So we can end now. There are 4 types of whirl. We have the plain whirl, central pocket loop whirl, double loop whirl, and your accidental. No one watched the recorded lecture? My goodness. Those are the 4 types of whirl. Kung ayaw nyong magklase ngayon, sabihin nyo lang. Marami pa akong gagawin. Sinasayang natin ang oras natin dito. So, those 4 types of whirl have values in your primary classification. Whenever those 4 types of whirl appear in all of your fingers, they have numerical value. Okay? Therefore, a loop pattern and an arc pattern do not have any numerical value. Only whirl pattern has a numerical value. So loop and arches are not important in your primary classification. Only whirl pattern. Any of those 4 numerical pattern. Plain whirl, central pocket loop whirl, double loop whirl, and your accidental whirl. Put that in your mind, everyone. Those are the 4 types of whirl that has numerical value in your primary classification. Sila lang ang importanteng pattern sa ating primary classification. Loops and arches has no numerical values in the primary classification. You're not watching the recorded lecture? Well, I will not be posting anymore any recorded lecture. So this is the location of the primary classification. As stated a while ago, the primary classification is in between the major division and the secondary classification. Always remember that. Pangatlo siya sa classification formula. Okay? So we are assigning numerical value in your fingers whenever a whirl pattern appear in all of your 10 fingers. But before we go to the numerical value, let us first discuss this one. Take note also that in the primary classification, there are assigned numbers to your finger. It is very important that you know the assigned number of your finger. Why? Because this will be the basis of determining what are the numerator fingers and the denominator fingers. Okay? So if you don't know the number of your fingers, well, you will never know what are the fingers that are belong to the numerator and what are the fingers belongs to the denominator group. Okay? So finger number 1 is your right thumb, followed by finger number 2, which is your right index finger. Finger number 3 is your right middle finger. Finger 4 is your right ring. Finger 5 is your right little finger. Finger 6 is the left thumb. 7 is your left index finger. Finger number 8 is your left middle finger. Finger number 9 is your left ring. And the last finger, finger number 10, is your left little finger. Very easy to understand. Okay? Those are the assigned numbers to all of your 10 fingers. Take note, these are not yet the numerical values. These are just the assigned numbers to your fingers. This is important because the purpose of assigning a number to your finger will determine if the finger belongs to the numerator or the finger belongs to the denominator group. So, maliwanag yan, ha? Okay. Let's try if you know. Okay? Mr. Ferrer, what is finger number 7?
Sir, index finger, sir.
What index? Right or left?
Left, sir.
Oh, be specific because we have two index finger, the right and the left index. So finger 7 is your left index finger. Mr. Lumpay, what is finger number 4? Christian Abawag Lumpay, what is finger number 4?
Sir, right ring finger, sir.
Okay, we have the right ring finger. That is our finger number 4. How about finger number 2? Miss Pasag, Erika, what is finger number 2?
Right index finger, sir.
We have the right index finger. Napakadali lang. Okay? Lalong-lalo na kung si Miss Erika Pasag magbibigay ng lechon baboy ngayon kasi birthday daw nung kapatid niya. Okay, happy birthday. So those are the numbers of your fingers. Wag nating kakalimutan yan. Okay? Kasi napaka-importante niyan. Makalimutan mo nang mag-brief, wag lang ito. Okay? Kasi these assigned numbers, as we stated a while ago, are the basis of determining whether a finger belongs to the numerator or denominator. Okay? Later on, we will discuss what are the fingers belongs to the numerator group and the denominator. Napakadali lang naman yan. Okay? Next. Now, this slide, class, shows to you the location of your fingers in the fingerprint card. So this is the position of your fingers in the fingerprint card. Okay? Right thumb, being finger number 1, is situated on this box. Katapat niya si left thumb. Magkakatapat naman yan. So these are your thumbs, right and left. This is the position of your index fingers, middle fingers, your ring fingers, and the little fingers. On top are the right fingers. Below the card is are the left fingers. Okay? So what finger again is the left thumb? What finger is the left thumb? Anong number niya? Mr. Hamon, are you present? Anong number ng left thumb natin?
Finger 6, sir.
Okay, finger number 6. How about your left little finger, Miss Raisa? What number of finger is that?
Sir, finger 10 po.
Yan, finger number 10. Wag muna nating pag-usapan yung kulang ang daliri at sobra. Ay? Kasi kung i-discuss na natin ko yung topic with regards to polydactylism, amputations, and finger missing at birth, ay baka hindi natin matapos ang primary classification. Dito muna tayo sa general rule, yung kompleto ang daliri. Okay? So those are the positions of your fingers in the fingerprint card. Magkakatapat, yung magkakaparehas. Wag nyo rin kakalimutan ito. Okay? Itong number ng daliri natin. Kasi importante yan dito. Yan. The following are the numerical values. Again, take note that only whirl pattern has a numerical value. Any of the variation of your whirl pattern has a numerical value. And these are the numerical values. Okay? So the value of a whirl in your finger number 1 and 2 is 16. What is finger number 1 again? Makadangdang?
Right thumb, sir.
Okay. So if a whirl pattern appear in our right thumb, the value of the whirl in the right thumb is 16. Okay. If a whirl pattern appear in finger number 2, what is finger number 2, Mr. Sarget?
Right index finger.
Okay. If a whirl pattern appear in your right index, the value is also 16. So tag 16 sila. Okay? 16 ang value niya. Okay? Fingers number 3 and 4, if a whirl pattern appear in your right middle finger and right ring finger, the value of the whirl in those fingers is 8. Okay? Tag 8 sila. Okay? Ayun, pag lumabas naman yung whirl sa finger number 5, what is finger number 5, Miss Inigo?
Sir, right little finger.
Okay. How about finger number 6, Miss Jimenez? What is finger
Left
number
thumb
6?
po, sir.
Okay, left thumb.
Left thumb.
So if a whirl appear in the right little and left thumb, the value is 4. Ganon din sa finger number 7 and 8. Your left index finger and your left middle finger. The value of the whirl in those fingers is 2. Okay? Then the value of a whirl in finger 9, finger 9 is your left ring, and finger 10 is your left little, the value of the whirl is 1. Okay? So, yan ang value ng whirl natin. That is the numerical values that we are referring a while ago. And take note, in relation to your numerical values, only a whirl pattern has a numerical value. Loops and arches do not have any numerical value in the primary classification. Sir, what are we going to do with those numerical value? Okay? That is where we are going to inject mathematics in the primary classification. We will conduct arithmetic in your primary classification. Particularly addition. Okay? So mag-a-add tayo dito. So we will add all of the numerical values. Okay? Mag-a-addition tayo. Okay? Mamaya may example tayo about dyan sa addition na yan sa primary classification. But before we go to the addition, let us first clarify matters here. Magtatanong ako, kapag whirl pattern ang lumabas sa left middle finger mo, Miss Bete, ilan ang value ng whirl sa left middle?
8, sir.
Oh, left middle? Left middle finger? 8?
sir.
Ha?
Po.
2, di ba? The value of the whirl is 2 in our left middle finger. Okay. Kapag lumabas ang whirl pattern sa right ring finger mo, Miss Marcos, ilan ang value ng whirl sa right ring?
8, sir.
Okay, 8. So the value of the whirl in the right ring is 8. Okay, maliwanag yan ha. Kapag lumabas sa left little finger mo, Miss De Guzman, ay whirl, ilan ang value?
1, sir.
Okay, 1. The value is 1. Ngayon, doon sa left or doon sa right thumb mo, Miss Zoe. Diyan ka, Zoe?
Yes, sir.
Sa right thumb mo, Zoe, ang lumabas na pattern, radial loop. O ilan ang value niya?
Sir, wala po.
Wala. Okay, very good. Buti hindi ka nalito. Okay? Kasi yung mga taga-Dagupan kahapon nagde-debate pa kami, sir, 16. 16 sila ng 16, radial loop nga eh. Wala. Okay? So 0. Okay? 0 ang value niya. Okay? Loop and arches has 0 value, has no numerical value in our primary classification. O, tatandaan nyo yan ha. Baka mamaya compute kayo ng compute, add kayo ng add, wala palang numerical value ang radial loop, ulnar loop, tented arc at plane arc, dinadagdag nyo. 0 kayo ngayon. Okay? So only whirl pattern has a numerical value. Okay? So 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. Those are the numerical values assigned in all of your fingers whenever a whirl pattern appear in your 10 fingers. 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. O, napakasimple. Hindi kayo magbibilang dyan ng napakatagal. Okay? 16 plus 8 plus 4 plus 2 plus 1 is 31. O, 31 lang. Di ba? But later on, we will discuss the rule on how we are going to add the numerical values of whirl in the primary classification. Now, let's go to the next one. Okay? Let's go to the next slide. Ayan. So, whirl patterns are the numerical pattern. Okay? Kanina pa natin sinasabi yan. That only whirl pattern, any variation of the whirl pattern, whether it is a plain whirl, central pocket loop whirl, double loop whirl, accidental whirl, they are the numerical patterns. Why? Because they have numerical values. Paki-enumerate nga ulit yung numerical values natin, Mr. Tababan, Willie. Ano na yung mga numerical value natin? 16.
Kaya po ako. Primary classification, secondary classification, sub-secondary classification, major division, final division, Cascade classification, sir.
Oh, tama ba siya, Miss Doktor?
Mali po, sir.
Paki-enumerate mo, Garod. Ano yung mga numerical value natin?
Ano, sir? Sa finger 1 and 2, 16. Sa finger 3 and 4, 8. Sa finger 5 and 6,
Okay.
4. Sa finger 7 and 8, 2. Sa finger 9 at 10, 1.
Okay. Thank you. And arches are the non-numerical pattern. Sinabi na rin natin kanina yan. Therefore, their value is 0 in the primary classification. Okay? Never mind that one. Now, the following are the groups of your fingers in the primary classification. And there are two groups. We have the numerator and the denominator. O, tatandaan nyo, lahat ng classification formulas natin, yung 6 na yon, mayroon silang numerator at denominator. Except the key classification. Okay? The key classification has no denominator. It has only numerator. So, starting from the primary up to the final classification, including the major division, lahat yung 5 yon mayroong numerator at denominator. Pero yung key classification, numerator lamang ang meron. Okay? Now, in the primary classification, this is how we are going to group the numerator fingers and the denominator fingers. The numerator fingers are the even fingers, while the denominator fingers are the odd fingers. Miss Jimenez, ano yung mga even number na alam mo? Sige nga, pakisabihin mo nga sa amin. Yung number na even,
2, 4,
even
6,
number.
8.
Yan, okay. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10 po.
Yan, correct. Those are the even number. Okay? How about the odd number, Miss Betty? Ano yung mga odd number na alam mo?
1, 3, 5, 7, 9.
Okay, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Okay? So if we are going to follow those sequence, ganito ang mangyayari. Yan. So finger 2, finger 4, finger 6, 8, 10 are the numerator. Okay? So we have the right index, right ring, left thumb, left middle, and the left little finger as our numerator. Okay? While the denominator are fingers 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Your right thumb, right middle, right little, left index, and your left ring finger being the denominator group. So that is how we are going to group your fingers in the primary classification. That's why it is important that you know the numbers of your fingers. O, napakadali naman. Pag even number, numerator agad yan. Pag odd number, denominator kaagad yang daliri na yan. Okay? O, walang mahirap dyan. Okay? Napakadali. Okay, ngayon, mag-compute tayo for example. Okay? So, let's get the primary classification for example. Beginning with the numerator, of course, the numerator fingers. Ngayon, nakita natin doon sa daliri ng tao, ang pattern ng right index finger niya ay accidental whirl. O, ilan ang magiging value niya, Miss Pasag? Uy, Eriko.
Sir, ay pakiulit, sir.
Naghihiwa ito ng karne, sigurado. Okay. Miss Pasag, ang pattern sa index finger, accidental whirl, sa right index ha. Ilan ang value niya?
16 po.
Okay, 16. Yan, 16. Thank you. Ngayon, doon sa right ring finger nung tao, nakita natin ang pattern niya ulnar loop. Ulnar loop. Ilan ang magiging value niya, Miss Arellano?
Sir, wala po.
Ay, wala. So, 0. Yan. 0. Ngayon, sa left thumb ng tao, ang pattern sa left thumb ay plain whirl. Ilan ang magiging value niya, Mr. Makaban? Hindi rin nakikinig. Sige. Si doktor na lang, Sherilyn, ilan sa left thumb?
4, sir.
Yan, 4. Kasi plain whirl yung pattern. Okay? Kaya natin, 4. Ngayon, dun sa left middle finger, ang lumabas na pattern doon, Mr. Or Miss Kidem, is central pocket. Ilan ang value niya sa primary? Sunshine. Busy kayo ni Dao Mingsu? Sige. Si Makadangdang na lang. Merian. Ilan?
2, sir.
Yan, 2. Okay? Ngayon, doon sa left little finger ng tao, ang lumabas ay plain whirl ulit. Ilan ang value niya, Feby?
Sir, isa po. 1.
Isa. Okay. Ilalagay natin 1. Yan. Ngayon, in order for us to get the primary classification, the numerator, we will add all of the numerical values that we have. Okay? So 16 plus 4 is 20. 20 plus 2 is 22. 22 plus 1 is 23. Okay? So 23 ang na-compute natin. Ngayon, mayroong sinasabi si Sir Edward Richard Henry. Okay? May gusto siyang sabihin sa atin. Okay? Puntahan natin yung gusto niyang sabihin. Ayan. Always remember, according to Sir Edward Richard Henry, in order for us to avoid 0/0 classification, we will add an arbitrary count of 1 to the sum of the numerator and sum of the denominator. Okay? Kasi nga, sa primary classification class, ang may value lamang ay whirl pattern. Hindi lahat ng tao, whirl ang pattern sa daliri. For example, pag itong si Mr. Hamon, ang pattern niya lahat puro loop. Siyempre, walang numerical value ang loop. So, ang magiging primary niya, 0/0. Pero sabi ni Henry, there is no 0/0 primary classification. That is why we will add an arbitrary count of 1 to the sum of the numerator and denominator to avoid a primary classification of 0/0. Maliwanag yan ha. Always add +1 to the numerator and denominator. Okay, so let's go back to the previous slide. So we obtain 23 as the sum of the numerator. So we will add +1. Okay. O, Sarget, anong tawag mo sa +1 na ito? Anong tawag natin sa +1 na yan?
Sir, arbitrary. Sir, nakalimutan ko yung talagtong.
Ano ba naman yan? Kasasabi pa lang natin, nakalimutan nyo na. Huwag kayong makakalimutin. Yeah? Arbitrary count of 1. Okay? Huwag niyong kakalimutan, nasa primary pa lang tayo. O meron pang 5 na classification formula tayong pag-aaralan. Iba din ang rule doon. O, paano na yan? We call that one as the arbitrary count of 1. 23 plus 1, Mr. Sarget.
24, sir.
Ba, ang galing Ikaw lang nakaisip niyan na 23 plus 1 ay 24. Ang galing mo pare. Okay. So the numerator is 24. Lalagay natin dyan. Yan, 24. Okay. Ngayon, kunin natin yung denominator. For example, sa right thumb, ulnar loop ang pattern. 0 yan. Automatic. Right middle, plain arc. 0 na naman yan. Kasi walang value ang plain arc. Sa right little niya, radial loop na naman. 0 yan. 0. Walang value ang radial loop Sa left index, ulnar loop naman ang lumabas. 0 din yon. Because ulnar loop has no value in the primary classification. Tapos, ang pattern sa left ring finger niya ay ulnar loop na naman. 0 na naman yan. Ilan ang total niyan, Lumpay? Sige nga.
0 din, sir.
Bang, galing mo Okay, 0. Yan. May nakakalimutan ba tayo, Miss Jimenez? May nakakalimutan ba tayo?
Meron, sir.
Meron. Ano yung nakakalimutan natin?
Yung arbitrary count, mag-a-add po ng 1.
Yan. So we will add plus 1. Okay? The arbitrary count of 1. Mulon, 0 plus 1. Sige nga. San si Mulon? 0 plus 1, Lisel. Hirap niyan. Ikaw, Bautista. 0 plus 1.
Sir, 1.
Kita nyo, ang hirap. 1. So the denominator is 1. Ganyan kunin ang primary classification. Di ba ang dali? Madali lang. Basta alam nyo kung anong daliri ang magkakasama sa numerator at denominator at alam nyo ang value ng word sa inyong mga daliri. 16,8,4,2,1 lang naman. But do not forget also to add an arbitrary count of 1. The purpose of the arbitrary count of 1 is to avoid a primary classification which is 0 over 0. Okay? Because of the arbitrary count of 1, the lowest primary classification is 1 over 1, while the highest is 32 over 32. Okay? So tatandaan natin. Kasi kahapon, nung nagpa-quiz ako sa Dagupan, may sumagot sa primary classification 57 over 89. Saan niya kinuha yung 57 over 89? Kung ang highest primary ay 32 over 32. Ibig sabihin lang nun, hindi siya nakikinig sa klase. Okay? So 32 over 32 ang pinakamataas na combination ng primary classification. Ano lang ang ibig sabihin kapag 32 over 32 ang primary? It only means that all of the fingerprint pattern of that person are whorl patterns. Ang ibig sabihin naman ng 1 over 1 is that there are no whirl patterns on the fingers of the person. Okay? So, the lowest combination is 1/1, while the highest is 32/32. Sino ang hindi nakaintindi? Naintindihan nyo ba lahat? Oh, sigurado kayo ah. Baka mamaya hindi nyo masagutan yung quiz natin. May quiz tayo later. Okay? Okay, so let's have an example. Okay? Para maintindihan mabuti. Ayan. So there is a set of fingerprint pattern here. Okay? So this is a fingerprint card. Okay? Anong daliri ulit ang nandito sa kan? Saglit ah. Anong daliri ang nandito, Mr. Lumpay? Itong tinuturo ko. Anong daliri yan? Uy, wala na. Wala kang daliri.
Mirror, sir.
Anong daliri ito? Ito. Anong daliri ang nandito? Sa fingerprint card. Ano ito? Oy, sos. Wala
Ano,
na.
sir?
Hindi mo.
Radial.
This is your right thumb. Okay? This is where the right thumb is located. Okay? How about here, Mr. Sarget? Anong daliri ang nandito? Oh. Hindi nyo alam ang
Sir,
magkakasunod. O, kalik. Ano?
Your right index finger.
Right index. Okay? What finger is located here, makadangdang?
Middle finger, sir.
Right or left?
Right, sir.
Yan, right. Kumpletuhin mo naman na makadangdang. Kaya nga ikaw ang tinawag ko dito eh. Kasi ito yung right middle finger. Okay. Next, what finger is located here? Kalikdan. Renz. Russell.
Yes, sir. Sir,
Anong
ano din?
daliri ang
Same.
nandun? Dito? Anong same? Anong daliri ang nandito? Same?
Sir, middle.
Bakit? Ilan ang middle nyo? 3. This is your ring finger. Di ba? This is the location of the right ring. Ay, right ring. Grabe naman si Kalikdan. 3 pa lang middle finger mo. 11 ang daliri mo. Okay. How about this finger, Miss Katrina? Anong daliri ang nandito?
Right little finger po, sir.
Okay, right little. Parehas din dito sa baba. This is your left thumb, left index finger, left middle finger, left ring, and the left little finger. This is finger number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Finger number 6, 7, 8, 9, and finger number 10. Ngayon, para mapabilis itong example natin, nilagyan ko na ng kulay. Okay? Yung mga kulay red, sila yung mga numerator fingers natin. Kasi ito yung finger 2, finger 4, finger 6, finger 8, at finger 10. Samantalang yung mga nakakulay black, sila yung mga nasa denominator fingers. This is finger 1, 2, 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. Okay? So, kunin natin yung primary classification starting from the numerator. Okay? So, the first numerator finger, makinig kayong mabuti. The first numerator finger is this finger. Okay? This is finger number 2. If a whirl pattern appear in your finger number 2, the value of the whirl is 16. However, the pattern appearing... Sino yun? May tanong? May nakaw ng mic. May magtatanong? Okay. Continue. The pattern appearing in your finger number 2, the right index, is a plain arc pattern. Okay? And plain arc pattern has no value in the primary. So this is 0. Okay? The next numerator finger is finger number 4. This finger. Okay? This finger is your right ring finger. If a whirl pattern appear in the right ring finger, the value of the whirl is 8. It so happened that the pattern in this finger is a plain whirl. So, it has a value. The value is 8. The next numerator finger is this finger. Finger number 6. If a whirl pattern appear in your finger number 6, the value of the whirl is 4. However, the pattern appearing in the left thumb is a radial loop. Therefore, it has no value. So this is 0. The next numerator finger is finger number 8. Okay? This finger. If a whirl pattern appear in your finger number 8, that is your left middle finger, the value of the whirl is 2. And it so happened that the pattern appearing in this finger is an accidental whirl, so it has a value. The value is 2. The last numerator finger in the primary classification is your left little finger, this one. The pattern appearing in this example is a plain whirl pattern, and it has a value. The value assigned in your left little finger is 1. Ayan. So we already obtained the numerical values of our numerator fingers. The next thing to do is to add the numerical values. 0 plus 8 is 8. 8 plus 0 is still 8. 8 plus 2 is 10. 10 plus 1 is 11. Okay? May nakalimutan ba tayong idagdag, Sherilyn?
Sir, meron po yung arbitrary count of 1.
Okay. So, we will add plus 1 to the numerator. An arbitrary count of 1. Okay. So, 11 plus 1, Mr. Ferrer, 11 plus 1.
12, sir.
Ferrer. Oh, ang galing mo ah. Sa kaklase mo, ikaw lang nakakaalam nun. Okay. So, 11 plus 1 is 12. So, the numerator is 12. Yan. Okay. Now, let's get the denominator of the pattern. Okay. Starting from this finger. This is the first denominator finger. And that is your right thumb. If a whirl pattern appear in our right thumb, the value of the whirl is 16. It so happened, however, that the pattern here is a radial loop, so it has no value. Therefore, this is 0. Okay? The next denominator finger is finger number 3. This one. Okay? That is finger number 3. That is your right middle finger. If a whirl pattern appear in the right middle finger, the value of the whirl is 8. And it so happened that the pattern here is an accidental whirl, so it has a value. The value of the whirl in this finger is 8. Okay? The next denominator finger is finger number 5. This one. Finger number 5 is your right little finger. If a whirl pattern appear in the right little finger, the value of the whirl is 4. And it so happen again that the pattern here is a double loop whirl, so it has a value. The value is 4. Okay? Next, the next denominator finger is finger number 7, this one. Okay? The value of a whirl in your finger number 7, that is your left index finger, is 2. Okay? Now, the pattern appearing here is an accidental whirl. So it has a value because it is a whirl variant. The value is 2. Okay. Next, the last denominator finger is finger number 9. This finger. Finger number 9 is your left ring finger. The pattern appearing here is a plain whirl pattern, and it has a value. The value assigned in finger number 9 is 1. So 1. Okay. Now we obtain already the numerical values of our denominator fingers. What we are going to do is to add the numerical values of our denominator finger. 0 plus 8 is 8. 8 plus 4 is 12. 12 plus 2 is 14. 14 plus 1 is 15. May nakakalimutan ba tayong idagdag, Kathleen? Kathleen, buhay ka pa?
Sir. Sir, at yung
May...
arbitrary count of 1.
Okay, we will add an arbitrary count of 1. Okay. So, 15 plus 1, Mr. Lumpay, ilan yon?
Sir, 16.
Oh, ang galing mo ah. Saan mo nakuha yun? So, the denominator in this pattern is 16. Okay? Oh, ganyan kunin ang primary classification natin. Sino ang hindi nakaintindi? Nagets nyo? Sino ang hindi nakagets? Umamin na kayo para hindi naman kahihiyan yan kung hindi nyo nagets para ma-explain pa natin lalo. O sige. We'll have another example here. Okay? Another example. Okay. Any volunteer to get the numerator of this primary classification? Ay, may magbo-volunteer to get the primary? Oh, walang magbo-volunteer. Oh, sige. I will be volunteering Miss Jimenez. Miss Jimenez, you get the primary. Okay. O, sige. O, saan tayo mag-umpisa? Dito?
Sa plain arch po, sir.
Okay. O, ilan ang value niyan?
0 po.
0. Okay, correct. Ano yung susunod?
Radial
Ito.
loop, sir. Opo.
Okay. Ilan ang value niyan?
0 din, sir.
0 din. Mahilig ka sa 0 baka mamaya 0 lahat. O, anong susunod?
Sa radial loop, sir.
Ito.
Yes, sir.
Ilan ang value niya?
0 din po.
0 din. Talagang diniretso mong 0 Oh, next. What's the next one?
Radial loop
Ito
ulit,
rin.
sir.
Yan, radial loop ulit. Oh. May value?
0 ulit, sir.
0 ulit. Namumuro ka na sa 0 ano yung susunod?
Plane world, sir.
Yan, plane world. May value ba yan?
Meron po. 2,
Ilan?
sir.
2? Paano naging 2 yan?
Ay, 1, sir. 1 pala.
1 lang. Ikaw naman. Okay, so 1. So nakuha na natin lahat. Tinotal natin, 1 lang. May nakalimutan ba tayo?
Yes, sir. Yung plus 1.
Yan, plus 1. Okay, so 1 plus 1, Miss Jimenez?
2 po.
Bang galing 1 plus 1, 2. Very good. Okay, so the numerator is 2. Okay? Any volunteer to get the denominator? Sarget, you are volunteering? Okay, very good.
Sir.
Di ba, nagbo-volunteer ka? Sige, kunin mo ang denominator. Starting from here.
Radial loop, sir. 0, sir.
Ilan ang 0? Yan, 0. Next. This one.
Tented arc, sir. 0, sir.
0 din. Mahilig kayo sa 0 Next.
Sir, 0 rin po.
0 din. Okay? Itong susunod. Ilan yan?
2, sir.
2. Okay? The value is 2. Bakit 2 ang value niya? Kasi
sir, yun yung
hindi kasi alam ng mga kaklase mo bakit 2 yan. Kasi ang pattern niya ay double loop world.
Double
diba?
loop world, sir.
Yan. Next. Last. This one.
Sir, 1, sir.
1. Okay. Ilan ang total niyan?
3 po, sir.
3. Tapos?
Plus 1 po.
Plus 1. 3 plus 1.
4, sir.
Ang galing mo din Ba't ang galing nyo sa math? Okay, so the denominator is 4. Ayan. So that is the primary classification of this set of fingerprint pattern. 2/4. Okay? Sino ang hindi nakaintindi? Mayroon pang naguguluhan sa buhay? Okay. Another example para hindi kayo maguluhan. Okay. Ang gusto kong sumagot dito ay si Hamon. Ay, Mr. Hamon. Kunin mo ang numerator. Yung numerator muna.
Okay.
Sige.
Yung plane world,
starting
sir.
From here.
Yes, sir. 16.
16. Okay.
Yes, sir. Tapos yung radial loop, 0, sir.
0. Okay.
Yung radial loop din po ng finger number 6, sir. 0.
0 din.
Yes, sir. Pati yung ulnar loop, sir, 0 po.
Ay, 0 din daw. Okay.
Yung plane world, sir, 1.
1.
Yes, sir.
Ilan lahat yan? Ilan lahat yan?
17, sir, plus yung arbitrary, yung sa 1 plus 1, sir.
Ilan
17,
yun?
sir.
17? 16 plus 1?
18, sir. 18 na po.
Okay, 18. Ano ba naman yan? Nagulat ako. 17 plus 1, 17 din. Okay. So, 18. Okay. So, the numerator is 18. Okay. How about the denominator, Miss Raisa? What is the denominator? Kunin natin.
Sir,
Sir, yung accidental whirl po, 16.
Okay.
Tapos yung central loop whirl, sir.
Agad-agad? Central pocket loop whirl agad? O sige, pagbigyan natin. 2.
Ay, straight ba, sir? Sir, yung tented,
sige.
tented po, 0 po.
Okay, 0.
Sir,
Okay.
yung plain arc po, 0 po.
Okay.
Tapos yung ulnar loop po, 0, sir.
Okay. Ilan yan?
Sir, 16 plus 2, 18 po, plus yung arbitrary count of 1 na plus 1, 19 po lahat, sir.
Okay. So, the denominator is 19. Okay, so, that is the primary classification of this fingerprint pattern. Okay? Sir, saan ba natin ginagamit yung primary? Okay. Ginagamit natin yan sa filing sequence. Okay? Kasi pag susunod-sunodin natin ang fingerprint card, magumpisa sa combination na 1/1, 1/2, 1/3, hanggang sa 32/32 na combination. So kapag binigyan ka ng 1,000 na fingerprint card, i-arrange mo, sabing ganyan. Ganun ang pag-arrange. Magumpisa ka sa primary. Titignan mo yung primary kung may 1/1 ba. Yun ang mauuna. Susunod, 1/2. Hanggang sa marating mo ang napakaraming combination. Hanggang ang last ay 32/32. Doon natin ginagamit ang primary classification. Para hindi magulo yung fingerprint records natin. Kaya, kung mali ang primary classification mo, magiging wrong ang arrangement ng fingerprint records natin. Okay? Kaya nga, ang scoring dito, class, ay 0 or perfect. Okay? So kung wrong mo ang isa, wrong mo lahat. Kasi, papaano nga ba naman magiging tama ang arrangement ng fingerprint record natin kung merong isa na mali? Okay? So kung mali mo ang isa sa 6 na classification formula, wrong lahat yan. Okay? Because the fingerprint science is a perfect science. So you should be perfect in answering the classification formula. Okay? Now in order to test your knowledge, yan. Another example. Okay? Sino ang gustong sumagot? Meron? Lumpay. Sige. Kunin mo yung numerator.
Yung sa plain, sir. Ay, plain word. 16, sir.
Ikaw. 16. Ikaw kung anong trip mo. Sige.
Tapos radial loop, sir, 0.
Okay.
Tapos radial loop din, sir, 0. Tapos sa plain word, sir, 2.
Okay.
Sa plain word, sir, 1.
Okay. Ilan yan?
Bali, sir, 19 plus 1. 20.
Ang galing 19 plus 1, 20 pala. Okay. Correct. Okay. Kunin mo na rin ang denominator. Christian.
Sir, 16 din. Yung accidental.
16 din daw. Sige.
Doon sa double loop world, sir, 8.
Yan, 8. Okay.
Tapos doon sa ulnar loop, sir, 4. Ay, 0, 0, 0, sir.
Nagulat ako doon 0. Talagang masisiro ka pag 4 ang sagot mo dyan.
Central pocket loop world, sir, 2.
Okay.
Tapos ulnar loop, sir, 0.
Okay. Ilan yan?
Bali, sir,
hirap talaga mag-add,
Bali, 30 plus 1, sir.
30 30? Paano naging 30 yan?
Ay,
16 plus 16
Ano, sir?
plus
Wait lang.
8, 24. 24 plus 2. Oh, ilan? Ilan
Ano,
lahat?
sir? 16, 10. Bale, ano, sir? 20, 26,
Plus 1.
27.
Ayan. Galing ah. 30. Nagulat ako sa 30 mo ah. Zero yung dalawa, naka-30
Nakalimutan
pa.
ko.
Oh. Okay. So, 27. Okay. So, the primary is 20 over 27. O, another combination na naman yan, di ba? Pagkakasunod-sunodin mo yan hanggang marating mo yung combination na 20 over 27, o, dun mo siya ilalagay. Dun mo siya isusunod. Dun mo siya isisiksik sa cabinet. Okay? Ng fingerprint file natin. Okay? So, mahirap ang primary, lalo kung mali ang computation mo. Okay? Lalo na kung totoong fingerprint ang nakalagay sa fingerprint card. Kung hindi mo alam ang itsura ng fingerprint, ay talagang hindi mo masasagot. Sinasabi mo ulnar loop ito, central pocket loop word pala. O di wrong na yung computation natin. Kaya panoorin nyo yung recorded lecture with regards to your fingerprint patterns. Okay? So, you bring out any sheet of paper, okay, and create a classification formula, primary classification. Okay? I will create a folder in your Google Classroom kung saan nyo isasubmit yung quiz natin today. Okay? We have a quiz today. Okay? So kung hindi kayo nakinig, ay pasensya. Okay, lalagay ko dito ang title niya, Quiz. Primary Classification. Upload the picture of your answers. Okay, kilala ko kung sino ang nandito sa Google Meet ngayon. Kapag may nag-join na wala kanina, hindi ko i-record ang quiz niya. Upload the picture of your answers. This is 20 points. Due date today. What's the time? 3:48. Okay, until 3:10 p.m. Okay. So there are 30 students here. 29 pala. Dalawa yung account ni Miss Zoe. Dalawa ba pa? Or isa na lang? Ayun, dalawa. Okay, so I will be assigning now the folder where you are going to upload your answers. Ni. Hintayin nyo lang. Okay, pakihintay lang saglit.